Okay, what I have done now, let me zoom in so you can see, is I have sketched circles right where I'm going to put all of these flowers, the large ones, the main ones. I have not put any of the little ones in, but I've just taken the end of my pencil, just like we did before, or paintbrush, and sketched in a little shape. And that's just for my placement. I wanted to know about where we're going to go with our flowers. So you can see I've got my big ones in the front, and then they get smaller. So you want to be careful that you don't have all of them the same size. All right, so I just wanted to let you know what I did, and I did it off camera so I wouldn't be wasting any camera time on getting those in there. Okay, down in the grasses, I'm going to take a dry brush, this is just a filbert, and I'm going to soften some of these grasses. They look a little spiky to me. We haven't done the line work yet, so right now this should be just soft color. I'm not going in the flower areas, but I'm just going to soften little patches. Thought that would be something you'd want to see, just to give it a little softening. It's a little bit more modeling of color. Okay, now I want to add a few highlights to this background grass area. And oh, I just realized I didn't put Hansa Yellow out. And we are going to be using Hansa Yellow on our flowers. So when I showed you that palette of all the colors, it was missing Hansa Yellow. So be sure that's in the 12-piece color set. Make sure you take out your Hansa Yellow. And I forgot to, sorry about that. Okay, now I have it out. But I'm going to take my large filbert brush, that's about an 8 or a 10, and I'm going to clean it out with extender, pinch wipe it good, and I'm going to pick up our bright yellow. Now this Hansa Yellow is a nice bright yellow color. Okay, you can see compared to the yellow oxide, you have a nice bright yellow. And I'm going to add some little touches, just a few, to give some highlights in the grass. Right in the center area, not over on the sides, just a little bit. Okay, just a few touches of yellow, just that it was sun-kissed. There are several tones of yellow in the daisies. We're going to start out with a number 6 filbert and this Hansa Yellow. And we're going to put in some of the daisies. Now you can use a round brush for the small ones, and I do have a round here somewhere. Okay, this will work. And I use the filbert, and you can use the 4 filbert, 6 filbert, and 8 filbert, depending on how big your canvas is and how big you want these petals. The large ones I'm going to, now you can also, if you would like to decide which way your daisy is facing, you can put a center in. That helps you know where your center point is on the daisy. Do you want it facing upwards? Do you want it straight out? Do you want it pointing in that direction? And that will help you with how to put your daisies in, your petals. Okay, so Hansa Yellow is very, very transparent. So during this painting of these petals, I have mixed a touch of white into my daisy color, because the Hansa Yellow, although it's nice and bright, it's very sheer, and we've got dark blue back there. So we're going to put in our petals, and it may take more than one application, because you see If you get a shadow, it's because it's picking up blue. So you can put them in, and then if we have to shadow and highlight, we can. And sometimes I pick up just the pure Hansa yellow. Okay, we'll let that one be. And I don't just stroke the daisies in one and done. I go back to them, add tints of white, add little shadows. I've even added the diary light. But you want each one of your daisies to have a little bit different shape. Oops, let's touch that in. Drop my brush. So this one is the Hansa yellow. And then on the light side, I'll pick up Hansa yellow and white. Over here, I'll highlight these a little bit because they just don't grab enough highlight with that dark underneath. And if you'd like, you can wait till this starts to set up and put the flowers in. But with camera time, I have to keep going. So I may have to stop and let some of it dry. And you can also shadow a few petals with some of your yellow oxide. But I'll stroke these in, and then I'll show you how I went back and did shading and highlighting to them. You didn't think you were just going to get to do one quick stroke, right? And adding the white, if you're having trouble seeing it, adding the white, you'll find your petals. And if there is a lighter color, a lighter background, it's not picking up the blue, you're able to use more Hansa yellow. On the side, occasionally you get a skinny stroke. Pull two together to get a wide stroke. We'll come back in and add highlights and tints. This just gives you an idea of where you're going. Now up here in these, and there's one more little one here. Let's put this little one in. I picked up Diary Light yellow. Now Diary Light has just a little bit more red mixed into it, and you can mix that into your Hansa, or you can use it by itself. And this gives these just a little bit more orangey color in the background. And you have some sideways daisies. Oops, that one's got a little carried away. Where you just see 3 petals off to the side. And a little bud. A tall one up here. Long and short, fat and skinny, lots of different shapes. Some can be pointy, some can be rounded. Remember, they're out in the field blowing to and fro. If you're going to use a round brush, these kind of have a swoop shape to them. I'm just picking up some of the This one pulls up a little bit, goes down. Switching to a round brush for some of the smaller ones. They're smaller because they're further in the distance. These are up close and those are going back into the distance. Now so far, they're just stroked in with color. They don't have any accents. They don't have any tints. No highlights. But we'll get to that shortly. And the one down in the front, I started out with the diary light, pulling the petals upwards to the center. And then with Hansa yellow, pulled a couple daisy petals over top. These I pulled upwards towards the center, then a couple down. Zoom in on that a little bit. And we'll put in a dark center. Now none of these have the highlights yet. And I'll show you that. And I will do a few of the highlights on camera. And then I'll break and finish them up so it doesn't take me all day to do these on camera. But you can pick up the diary light occasionally and give it a different tone. And there. Pick up this one. And then there's a lot of little fillers in between. Okay, let's get wide again. Alright, that's the first step for the daisy petals. Now, you can go in, I know holes in the center of the daisies bother me. I take a little bit of the diary light and I tap in. Don't make perfect circles, just irregular shapes. But this gives it a first coat, so to speak, so we can cover some of these holes up. And this one will be dark. Put a couple of these in, just a couple. There. Now we'll be able to. Okay, those will dry, and we'll be able to add more tints and accents to them as well. All right, now what you're going to do is our shadow color is the yellow oxide, and we will shadow some of these, but more chance than others is going to be the lightning. You're going to see that the most. I didn't get to shadow too many. As you can see, most of the yellow stays yellow, and then you overstroke with really pale yellow over the top to make them show up. So I'll go in and show you that, see if that, see, just adding that little pop of Hansa yellow and white really perks up my daisies. And you don't have to do the whole daisy. Sometimes just one or two petals. Sometimes just one is all you need. So go in and start adding little touches of the highlight color. And this is a round brush. I'm wiping my brush off as it picks up some of the dark blue because we don't want to have that mix into our highlight color. Oh, that one showed up real nice. And we will go back and darken some of these. Sometimes just the tips need just a little bit of pep on them. Starting to dry, so I'm going to pick up a little extender into my highlight color so it strokes on smoother. Okay, all right, I'm going to stop here and I'm going to let this set up a little bit so that I can show you the rest of the accents and tints, and we'll come back in a moment.